So now our stack is at about 100 degrees, and the next thing we've got to do to get our coal stove going is start putting coal in. So now what we do is we open this back up because it was closed, and we're going to shovel our small coal bits in. And the first thing that I like to do is I like to put it around the fire. So I'm putting it in the corners first. And then I'm going to put it behind the fire. And in front of the fire. But I don't cover it up. And then I like to close it. And you're going to see it catch up real fast here. So the key thing is that we started an initial fire and we made about 100 degrees of heat, which is enough to really start the small coals on fire. So it's not going to take long for this to start, back up and start generating more heat. Once I see that the flames are starting to get larger in there, that's when I'm going to come in and I'm going to fill this thing about as high as it can go. So a few safety tips while we're waiting for this to catch up with itself is that coal can release gas as it burns. And already I've experienced this, that when you have an automatic flue, which is what I have, and you leave the door open, especially with the small coal, you can create a scenario. If you pack enough coal on top of your fire, you can create a scenario where the gas will accumulate and it will blow out the bottom door if this is open. So what I like to try to do is to not pack it on top of the fire, let it breathe normally, and keep those gases from accumulating, which can really be a fire hazard, and that just creates some bad stuff. And as always, keep your fire extinguishers close by. Very important. And yeah, so this is going pretty good now, and so we're gonna throw some more coal on it.
Sweet.
Now, the other thing that we haven't talked about, and not a lot of people do, is the shaker. The shaker is pretty. Well, you won't find the shaker on any other coal stove or wood burner. It's only on the coal stove. So, what's it there for? How do you use it? Well, and what I'm doing right now is I'm packing it on there. Try and make the coal, like a tent. I'm going to close this back down just in case we get a blowback, because it can happen at this point. So now, the shaker. The shaker is designed to make the ash go to the bottom of the coal stove. You'll notice that when your fire starts to die down, what you need to do is relocate the ash so that the oxygen can get through the ash and into the fire. The faster the oxygen can get through to the fire, the better your fire is going to breathe, the hotter the fire is going to get. And so you do that by taking the shaker and shaking it. Like I said, you're going to know that you need to shake it when your fire is getting not producing a lot of heat and you're giving it a lot of oxygen. So just give it some shakes. You don't have to, go the whole length of its play. Just give it some good shakes. And generally what you need to do is you need to be able to see some orange reflecting from the bottom of this pan from the fire above. So if you can see it, there's a little bit of reflection right there. And now I'm going to shake it some. And now there's a lot more in there, and it's not coming from the coal that you see there. It's reflecting from the heat from the fire above. So that's pretty good. You don't need to shake it anymore. Once you're able to see the reflection, you're done shaking. Don't do it anymore. Otherwise, you might put your fire out. Like I said, you need to have a bed of coal in there, otherwise your fire's not going to work very well. Okay, so at this point, we need to set the amount of oxygen that we need to give our fire. Since we're starting our fire, I'm going to open this, hit it until it shuts. 1 turn, 2 turn, 2.5 turns. You can pretty much walk away from it at this point. It's going to go. We have heat inside of our stack, and you can see that from the thermostat. 100 degrees is plenty hot for it to keep going. You don't need to be able to see the fire going in the coal in order for you to know it's going to go. That heat is enough. So come back to it in about 15-20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. You're going to see it burning in there, and this is when you have to adjust how hot you want your fire to really get. This is a small room. This coal stove is capable of making this room 100 degrees when it's minus 18 degrees outside. So there's a lot of heat that can come from coal. I tend to run my coal stove at 3 1/4 turns out from a dead stop. You know, when it's really cold outside, you're going to have to do more turns out, so probably maximum 2 turns, but 1.5 to 3/4 turns out from a dead stop is really all you need. I like to keep the stack 100 degrees or about 120 degrees when it's running, but when you're getting it going, it's nice to get the first fire up to about 250 degrees and then let it die down from that. If you just get it to 110 degrees and you just let it sit there, the fire's never really started. So get it hot, but don't let it go over 300 degrees. You can start breaking the bricks inside of the coal stove.